Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, when all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for Overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.
Welcome into First Pitch for Monday, August 15th. I am Drew Martin, joined by Tony Finn and Brian Leonard of WagerTalk.com. We're talking 3 games on tonight's slate. We got best bets at the end. Feel free to join us here in the live chat box on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. If you're watching on replay, feel free to reply below. Any questions, more than welcome. Let us know what you're looking to bet on, as we're going to be breaking down the Padres and the Marlins, the Mets and the Braves. We get the Astros and the White Sox before hitting best bets. Let's get into it, guys. Heading to South Florida. First game on the card, 3:40 Pacific, 6:40 Eastern first pitch. We get the Friars going with Joe Musgrove up against the Fish and Sandy Alcantara. Brian, coming to you first. Low total here, but it's low for a reason. 6 in the hook being the total, minus 140. That's the Padres as the road favorite. Are you liking anything the Friars and the Fish tonight?
Yeah, this should be a pretty good pitching battle. Obviously, the line tells you that it's 6.5. Alcantara's been terrific all season long. I think he'll have a lot of success here against the Padres. The Padres, since they had the big trades, the trade deadline, they've been hit or miss. When they're hitting, they're scoring 7 runs a game or so. But when they're not, they're really getting shut down. I think Alcantara will have a good time against this Padres team. There's still too much swinging for the fences in my estimation on that team. From looking at the home games, so far in the month of August, they played 7 home games in Miami, and the average run scored is 5.14 runs scored. So you're getting a pitcher's park. You've got 2 excellent pitchers with the possibility of being the Cy Young winner in Alcantara, and you've got the best pitcher this season for the San Diego Padres. So really like this under here. And when you take a look at Miami, this offense is really struggling right now. The last 13 games, they scored 24 total runs. They don't score a lot for Alcantara anyway. I like this game under. We're getting under 6.5. They're basically even money, so plus 100. And I used this as a free play on the earlier show today, WagerTalk today, and I do like this play.
All right, Brian. And yeah, Tony, coming to you next. They don't score much for Alcantara. Talking about the Fish lineup, they don't score much at all, really. I mean, the last 15 games, 3 runs or less. That's going back decades, this streak of just they don't get any offensive production here. So put them up against one of probably the 10 best pitchers in Major League Baseball, and Joe Musgrove. Tough to expect anything from the Marlins lineup, and then we get Alcantara going for the Fish. I like it to the under, Tony. What are you thinking tonight in the Fish tank?
Let's put it this way. I couldn't argue with anything you just said at all. The only thing I would suggest maybe is to watch. I believe the Padres will become, first off, back to the Marlins. Until Mattingly's gone. Mattingly certainly and his coaching staff have not produced, or at least been rewarded on the ESPYs or any show for their offensive prowess of being able to coach up offense. Now they've done a great job with pitching, as we've just discussed, but on the Padres side, I think this team will, as they adjust more and more to Soto and Bell, they'll score more runs, mostly because of what Soto and Bell bring. They bring a little more patience at the plate, believe it or not. Soto, especially for a kid that's 23, draws a lot of walks, makes pitchers throw strikes, makes them challenge the plate. The Padres drew 18 walks in this 3-game series against the Nationals over the weekend. Now, go ahead and throw it at me. Yeah, it was the Nationals. Okay, but that's an area where I think, again, Soto and Bell assist in offensive projections moving forward. Increased base runners result in more runs. The Sunday Padres lost in the middle of the game, 4-3. They drew 8 walks in that game to go on with 8 hits. You still have to hit when you have base runners, 2 for 12 with runners in scoring position, a lot of stranded runners, et cetera, et cetera. This is a game that I have my best bet on, so I'll end it with this, and that is I think that San Diego has some serious advantages in this matchup, and I'll discuss those more during the best bet segment.
All right, well, we're going to head from Miami up to Atlanta here for an NL East matchup, a big one here. Tony, coming to you first. We get Carlos Carrasco going for the Metropolitans and Strider going for the Braves, commanding a -150 price tag. Tony, that number jumped out at me as being a little rich. I mean, the Mets are 17-3 their last 20 games. This is a heck of a Mets team, total of 8. Are you liking anything in the ATL tonight?
Well, if I'm in this room, I could not agree with you more. I think that Strider against Carrasco, Strider's obviously they're the hot item. Atlanta's the reigning world champions. They're at home. So most people say, well, what are you talking about, guys? They're only -150. However, the Mets have been really good. I mean, I think they're proving that as much as we want to say, hey, they're the Mets, it's the Mets. It's the Mets' other team in New York. These Mets are pretty good. As long as DeGrom and Scherzer are healthy, and Bassett can throw and basically, give them 6 or 7 innings. This is a pretty good team. It's a pretty good offense. They have the ability to go deep, and they're scoring runs at City, which is, I think, something different. At least it should provide some evidence that this team's for real. And I think they may be the only contenders. If we stop the race today, guys, could anyone argue that the Dodgers aren't doing everything right and they're as deep comes and they have interchangeable parts, et cetera? But Atlanta -150, for me, I agree with you. I think it's a little too steep. And my first thought when I saw this line last night was, man, I'm on the Mets. I'm on the Mets tonight without question. Carrasco's been good. So I think $150 is a little heavy. And again, if I'm in this room, I'm going to be on the visiting Metropolitans.
Okay, Brian, Strider does have a 38% K rate. That's number 1 in Major League Baseball. So he can rack up those strikeouts. The Braves have won 6 straight, I believe, against the Mets, and they're just they've won 4 straight over the Marlins. But heading back home, sometimes that isn't always a good bet on, being the first game back home. That's another thing that kind of points me towards the underdog. I think we're getting a pretty good plus price here on the Mets. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think so too. The Mets have had their way against Atlanta. I think a lot of people think this is a big game for the Braves because they lost 4 out of 5 in New York earlier. So they were coming out with Strider, as you mentioned. The guy's been terrific, a major strikeout pitcher, but he does walk. And usually you find that with young pitchers that have that strong arm like that. I believe he walks like 9.4% walk rate. Yep, 9.4%, 38% on the strikeout rate. But if you take a look at the Mets lineup, other than maybe Darren Ruff, who they just brought over, Vogelbach, who they just brought over, most of the team overall is really good at putting the ball in play. In fact, even Ruff and Vogelbach are 26, 24% strikeout rate. It's not the 30% or whatever that you see at a lot of big power hitters. The Braves, on the other hand, are a bunch of guys that really they strike out a lot. So it wouldn't surprise me here if Carrasco gets into this matchup. If you could see something out there where who has the most strikeouts, and obviously it's going to be a nice plus price for Carrasco, but it might be a good matchup for that. But yeah, the Mets to me have the advantage here. I like their lineup, the way they go all the way through. I will state that Travis Denard is supposed to be back tonight for the Braves. He's been out for a while, but I really like these Mets. They're a team with a lot of depth, and what they did over the trade deadline really increased their chances, at least to me, on going deeper into the playoffs here. I like Strider. Strider's been really good. If you take a look at his StatCast numbers all season long, other than the walk rate, he's read across the board, so he's been very good. But I just don't think this is going to be a very good matchup for him. I agree. The Mets are the side for me if I'm playing this one.
All right, looking towards the dog in Cobb County. We got one game left and best bets at the end. Huge shout out to the chat box, guys. Everybody joining us live. Wisconsin guy, Chuck Pod, Joel Richards, Gregory in the house, Raven, Ron, Sweet James Jones as well. Thanks for joining us live, and feel free to reply below as always as we head to the Windy City for our last matchup breakdown here. Johnny Cueto versus Urquidy going for the Stros. Brian, coming to you first. We're seeing the Astros minus $1.25, as high as minus 130 is the road favorite. 8 in the hook being the total. You like it anything on the south side?
Yeah, Jose Urquidy's had a strange season. His other than his walk rate, which is excellent at 5.2%, there's a lot of blue in his Statcast numbers. So his exit velocity, his hard hit rate's been a little bit higher here. So to get them as a road favorite here with the numbers he's put up is a little bit concerning. Johnny Cueto, I thought he was done a couple of years ago, and he has come back. He's made some adjustments. He's not the major strikeout pitcher that he was. He's 16.5%. In fact, both the pitchers, neither one of them were big strikeout guys in this matchup. But hats off to Cueto. When he went to Chicago, and Chicago's a place where it could be homer prone, and I thought he would have some problems in that regard. But his executive velocity is 88.2%, hard hit rate 36.7. He's fit in pretty well there. So hats off for the White Sox for getting him for next to nothing to be a major component in this pitching rotation. But I'm a little bit torn in this game. The White Sox playing better ball than they did earlier in the season. Now they're not tied with the Minnesota Twins, second place in this division. Cleveland's playing really well right now, but Houston's a better team, better overall team. And when you take a look at teams with winning records, we've seen that in the past, that Houston does very well in this regard, and the White Sox have struggled against winning teams. So slight edge here to Houston, although it wouldn't surprise me if Chicago comes out and plays a pretty good game. But it's not one game it's not a game I'm involved with tonight.
Sure, the Sox are playing better baseball, Tony. They got multiple ways to get into the playoffs here. They're 2 games back in the wild card, 2.5 games back in the division. So important games here for the White Sox coming down the stretch. Hey, they're important for Houston as well as best team in the AL. What do you like in here, Astros and White Sox?
Well, quickly, I think the A's might be. Houston's one of those teams that has really, with Dusty Baker at the helm, they have not felt. I don't think they felt the need to press. At least push the envelope here, and a lot of times you'll see a lineup that you might raise an eyebrow to. Oakland swept Houston last week, if you remember, at the Coliseum, which was quite the surprise considering what Houston had just done up in Seattle, et cetera, et cetera. But they seem to be they seem to be that one club that kind of can flip the switch and can win by 5, 6, 7 runs when they want to, and keep a game close and keep the crowd interested, et cetera, et cetera. But I think they're not really the team that I'm going to be backing a bunch or fading a bunch because of the reasons I just gave you. It's mostly, I don't know whether it's time to call a spade or not, but I know you guys just you pimped and gave the White Sox some butt slaps. But this team, what they're doing, this is a team that we all thought they might be able to pitch above, at least close to some of the elite staffs, but they've had some injuries. But this offense has been nothing like it was last year. And while they have suffered some injuries, not quite as much as last year, what they did last time, Cease was on the mound, and Cease, no one talked really about Dylan Cease, do they? I mean, you guys, what Cease has done this year, those numbers are stupid, crazy, good. And 8 strikeouts, 19 swings and misses his last start. A solo home run to Vinny Pasquantino of the Kansas City Royals was the difference in the first 5 of that game. But more importantly was that they couldn't hit Greinke. And if you look at Greinke's peripherals or his percentiles, Greinke's at the bottom of the league. He's with guys that you and I and Brian, you and all 3 of us and the staff, the producer staff, would say, we can't back him against this club. There's no way. I don't know. I think they stink. I think they're poorly managed, and I think they're completely unreliable. So as good as Cueto's been, Houston at home, you're probably going to have to play. Even the White Sox, you would think you're going to have to lay a bigger number. I think Houston's the value, absolute value tonight.
All right, looking towards the favorite, the Stros on the road, minus 125 right now, looking at the WagerTalk odds screen. Guys, that does it for the breakdowns. We got best bets coming up right now. Again, if you're liking the content, please smash that like button and feel free to reply below. Going around the horn here, Brian Leonard for the last 5 MLB seasons in the positive. He knows his bases, knows his college football and NFL as well. Check him out, Brian Leonard, WagerTalk.com. Brian, what do you got for best bets and any final thoughts for the show?
Yeah, Tony mentioned Zach Greinke. Zach Greinke's been a moneymaker since the All-Star break. He came back out of the minors, and he's done very well. He's been a nice moneymaker because of what he's done the last few years. Congratulations to him and people who were able to back that. I'm going to pass today. Nothing I like well enough to put out as a play, so no plays for $9 Monday from me. This is my second show, so you can use the best bets out of the 2 shows, and that's the best I have here. I'm going to go a little bit off the board here, and I'm going to take a look at the Yankees game against Tampa here. Yankees have not been nearly as strong offensively as they had been earlier. Obviously, when you're not getting the home runs, and this is a team that hits a lot of home runs. When you're not getting the home runs, you have a hard time getting on the scoreboard the way their lineup is based. But when you take a look at the starting pitcher for the Yankees, Garrett Cole, if you've watched his games, it's clear that something's going on where I don't know if he's not getting used to the mound after he comes in out of the bullpen, but in the first innings this year, he's got a 5.09 ERA, and we've seen a couple times where he's just getting lit up, home run, home run, home run. He's had a lot of success against Tampa this year. He's faced them 3 times. This will be the 4th time he's faced them, and he's been very good in all 3 matchups. But I'm looking for Tampa Bay to come out in this game. You're getting the best chance to score against them is in the first inning. Most of the teams, your best chance to score is in the first inning because you've got the guys that you set up, and you're going to get them in that way. You're getting a plus 266 for Tampa to score in the first inning against Cole. 5.09 ERA in that first inning. I'll take it. Tampa's due against this New York team, especially against Garrett Cole, who, as I said, has been excellent against them. 3 straight starts. I think Tampa gets to him today. I like the first inning of plus 266.
Like it, Brian. Guys, I'm going for my best bet to the first game on the card here, the Marlins and the Padres, and I'm going under 6.5. 2 of the best pitchers in baseball right now. We get the Marlins offense scoring 3 or fewer runs in their last 15 games. That's 15 straight games scoring 3 or less runs here. That's the first time in the last 3 decades that has happened. This is one of the worst offenses out there. And actually the Padres offense, yeah, they made some trades, but for whatever reason, particularly outside of Petco Park, they really haven't been very consistent. So are they going to find it against Sandy Alcantara having one of the best seasons that I can really remember from any pitcher out there in MLB? I don't think so. 6.5, it's low for a reason. I think this one finishes 2-0, 3-1, something of that nature. I bet it under 6.5 plus money as well. So just risk 100 to win 100, plus 100 on that 6 in the hook. I'm on the under in the fish tank tonight. I'll throw it over here to Tony Finn, guys. #1 profit leader in MLB this year. Check him out. Tony Finn, WagerTalk.com. Known by some as Tijuana Tony. He's hung out down there south of the border. Maybe he's got a Mexican League game for us. Not really sure. Tony, take it away. Final thoughts. Best bet, man.
Let's go to the game that you just spoke about a little bit. That's the Marlins and the Padres. I thought at first glance last night, too, when I was looking at some player props and pitching props, that I thought that, albeit to lay some juice, I thought the Musgrove prop, strikeout prop, or strikeouts thrown proposition was low at 5.5 on DraftKings. -135. That may be a little bit heavy for some. I don't think it is. You want to look at a Marlins team, as you guys have discussed and stated, and in fact, can't score, can't hit, haven't scored more than 3 runs in forever, it seems like. And Musgrove over 5.5 against a team that ranks, I think, 7th or 8th in the major leagues in strikeouts per plate appearance. So Musgrove had a little rocky point, or a little rocky spot, should I say, over the last month, but he's really still been pretty darn good, and Butter's in a pretty good position tonight against a Marlins team that can't score. And Musgrove was a guy that was the National League Cy Young favorite for much of the first half. Give me Musgrove over 5.5 strikeouts thrown tonight, -135 at in Marlins Park.
Like it. Good stuff from Tony Finn. Joe Musgrove over 5.5 strikeouts, -135. Brian Leonard raised the score in the first inning. The Yerfy, yes, run in the first inning, +266. Big plus price there, guys. Risk 100 to win 266. And I'm on the under 6 in the hook, Friars and Marlins tonight. First game on the card. For Tony Finn, Brian Leonard, check them both out. WagerTalk.com. I am Drew Martin. It's $9 Monday. All plays discounted to just $9. A lot of free action up as well. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Come back and join us. Best of luck with your bets until then. Thanks for tuning in.
With a quality slate of handicappers that WagerTalk offers, it is impressive to be on the leaderboard for any sports for any period of time. Imagine that 4 months into the season, you're number one in profit in the last 3 days, number one in profit in the last 7 days, number one in profit in the last 30 days, and number one profit for the season in a sport. Well, that's exactly what Tony Finn has done this year in Major League Baseball. Most customers already know the attention to detail that Tony has towards the MLB with his in-depth write-ups encompassing every part of the game, but if you don't know, it's time to find out. We have over 3 months of MLB action left as this regular season extends to October 5th, and the expanded MLB playoff starts thereafter with the World Series playing into November. Get the rest of the MLB season for $99 per month, coming out to only $297 with the coupon code TONY297. That's every MLB play Tony releases from now through the final game of the World Series for just over $3 per day.